All right. Hey there, guys. We are live once again with a record snowfall for today's date. And it's been a long morning already here. Still some slick roads. We got a plow through our neighborhood, so that was good. So things improving there. I've seen reports of around 2 to 4 inches of snow in most locations. I've had a lot of pictures sent in. So thanks if you sent in some of those pictures. You get a live look outside here at the snowy weather that we have across the area. So here's a live look along the waterfront with the Falls of the Ohio Cam. Looking there along the New Albany and Clarksville waterfront towards the city skyline. Still pretty cloudy out there. I think we might see a peak of sunshine later on today. And just very cold conditions. There might not be a whole lot of melting. I know it's kind of a slushy snow, kind of a wet snow as it is. There's a train going across the railroad track there. But temperature only maybe a degree or two above freezing for our high temps. So we're talking 33, 34. So again, maybe not a whole lot of melting going on for today. And then tonight is going to be frigid. We're looking at low temperatures dipping down to the upper teens and lower 20s. So there could be some refreezing to watch out for on some of the roadways overnight tonight and out early tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow we get a little bit above freezing at 38. Cold long-range pattern that we're talking about. And might get another front. It looks like Thursday could give us a few flurries. Reinforcing shot of cold air. I got a high of only 32 on Thursday. And then sometime around Sunday, Monday, it looks like another little system could bring in a wintry mix. Otherwise, just a cold, long-range weather pattern here for us for possibly the next couple of weeks. I was looking down the road with the GFS weather model, maybe toward maybe third week of December, we'll perhaps get a little warm up around that time frame. So be a little careful out there if you're doing some traveling this morning. Most of the main routes are in good shape. It's just getting to those main routes through some of the snow-covered county roads, outer roads, neighborhood roads, side streets that could still be a bit snow-covered out there this morning. We've got Beverly Higgiston here again from Borden, Indiana, and Vicky Berger with the dog out there playing in the snow. My dogs have been out there, especially my husky Aussie mix, Desi. She loves the snow. But I know some of you were on earlier this morning. We did a live look at the current conditions at 6:30 with a live stream. But we are back at it here this morning. Orlean Whitlow gave us the report earlier this morning, around a half inch, now almost an inch of snow, a little bit more there in LaRue County in the Hodgenville area. So thank you for that report right there. So obviously we've got plenty to talk about. We've got some snow pictures. We've got snow jokes. We've got snow history. We made history today. And so again, we'll get to it here, and let me bring up, and we're going to, again, once, as I typically say from the house, we're going to put the power of Starlink internet to the test. We've had a bunch of internet outages around here. So they went from, I'm learning things now. They got the e-learning. It's called synchronous learning. So Brady, my son, was synchronous learning. So it's supposed to synchronize with teachers and do your work from home. Now, since there's internet outages, it is asynchronous learning. So I think that means they may still have work to do, but can get it done at a later date. What happened to just a good old snow day? You know, just a good old fashioned snow day. So we'll look at also the current conditions. We've got traffic cams and other things we can look at. Let's bring up some weather headlines. We'll look at currents, forecast, weather models. Again, a lot to cover this morning. If you want to hang out, we're here. It's your weather show for Southern Indiana, Metro Louisville, Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, and beyond. So thanks for being part of the weather family. Feel free to drop in the comments. Let us know how much snow that you picked up in your backyard this morning. Again, most of the amounts that I've seen so far, around 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. But one of the bigger spots was 4.7 inches. Let me bring this up. And this was right in Louisville, at Louisville International Airport. Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Record snowfall for today's date. The old record, 2.7 inches. Set in the year 2000. Today's record, 4.7 inches. We've got a report here coming in from Vanita Gorder, 3.5 inches from Brandenburg, and Beverly Higgs with 4 inches. And that's exactly what I've got here in our front yard, 4 inches of snowfall. So that matches up very well, Beverly, with what we've got. But you're just right across the hill. So that would make sense. And as we take a look here, here's a look at what I woke up to, a little winter wonderland action across the area. So again, it might take a little time for this to melt as we stay around 33, 34 for the afternoon high temperatures. And another picture here. Check this out. This was in Borden. Borden Mountain, as Ken Ritter said when he posted this picture. But there you can see the tracks in the snow. I'm guessing that's probably a long driveway. Keith Hennessy through the woods, across the creek, over a pond, and over to neighbor Keith's house. Good morning. And here's another look at some of the snow up in Pekin, up on Highway 60. Bruce and Brenna LeDuc sharing, I'd say, about 4 inches of snow there as well. And then we've got, let me get my face out of the way here. Kathy Willis, Bullitt County on the left side, I would say, near 3 inches. And then Anita Meredith and Fern Creek there on the right side, sharing the snowy scenes across Kentuckiana. And the weather headlines for today: slick roads still, mostly the outer roads. Main routes are in good shape. Just a long range cold pattern here for us. Temperatures are going to be trending about 10 to 15 below normal for the next couple of weeks. A quiet work week with maybe a few flurries on Thursday with a reinforcing shot of cold air. And maybe like a Sunday, Monday time frame, a little wintry mix. With that report there. There it is. There's her comment. So dropped a degree since Lillian got up there in Litchfield in Grayson County. All right. So good morning here. One sip of the coffee, and then we're going to get continue to roll on here. Let me get rid of that and bring up this. So here's what we got going on at extolmag.com/weather. We got our live stream up. Current temperature 31 degrees. A lot of different weather variables that you can look at here. You got your daily forecast that takes you through next week, the hourly forecast as well through today. I've popped up the brand new 7-day forecast. We'll talk more about that here in just a sec. I've also got a brand new weather story that I posted this morning. It's been a busy morning. It's been a long morning. My first post was at like 4 o'clock this morning. It's kind of a nice, not surprise, because we were forecasting around 1 to 3 isolated 4 inches since a couple days ago. But as a meteorologist, as a forecaster, if you look out the window and there's nothing on the ground, that's the scariest thing because that's called a busted forecast. But thankfully, there was snow on the ground. So I would rather miss it a little bit on the high side than on the zero side because then that is a disaster. And that has happened in the past. But this forecast turned out pretty good for us. And again, we got you linked up to a lot of different stuff here. What I'm interested in here is this was fun to look at earlier this morning at 6:30 when all the plows were out. I'm sure the plows are still out, but they've got the plow cams are everywhere. You can see I don't know if it's every plow, but a lot of different plows here. And it's kind of cool that you can click on them and then it pops up their pictures. So this was at right around 10 a.m. You can see just a little bit of snow on the road. That's near, it's Indiana 356. I believe that's near Lexington, Indiana. You got 3 plows working north of Madison. Continue to clear those roads. Probably getting stuff more off to the side, more on the shoulders there. Here's near Scottsburg along Indiana 56. What cool technology, though, that you can just ride along with these plows everywhere. Here. There we pop back up. We're testing the power of the Starlink internet here. And so there might be a little skip, a little drop off here every once in a while. But again, very cool. I've really never played around with the snowplow cams, but we got you linked up to this at extolmag.com/weather. And it's also at 511in.org. Cool way to look at all the roads. And then, of course, if you want to look at Louisville Metro, doesn't look too bad as far as crashes. I don't see huge slowdowns. Looks like here's a crash at 64 and 9th Street. Yep. So there you go. There's a look at a crash. Looks like a couple vehicles involved. You can see them sideways right there on 64. So it looks like they have that shut down. There's 64 westbound. Looks like that's closed down there. And that is about it. I think. What's this one? We got a blockage there on this ramp. That might just be construction. All right. One more camera, then we'll get rolling along here. Yeah, roads look good throughout Metro Louisville. Salt really helps dry it up. Plow's been working. Thanks to the crews, the snow fighters that have been out there all night long, making travel possible across the area. All right, so that's trimark.org that, of course, anybody can go check out and take a look at. Hey, I want to thank our partners here before we dig into the forecast. And I was chatting here with Michael Long earlier this morning, hoping that his day doesn't get too busy because there's been a lot of slide offs. Of course, he's an insurance agent and very helpful insurance agent, has helped us with car accidents, with roof issues with our family. So if you want to get a contact with him, they've actually had price reductions in their auto renewals. He's also found ways to save by adding life insurance policies, dropping our monthly bill, student discounts using the app. So check it out. Find ways to save here. Get a quote, 812-578-3072, or you can go to amfam.com and just search his name, Michael Long, right there. I want to thank our partners, too, at Lions Roofing. As our weather gets busier this time of the year, make sure everything's in good shape. Gutters are in good shape. Protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime on both sides of the river here throughout Metro Louisville, 812-294-3595, or you can see LYONS, lionsroofingco.com. Free estimates, a lot more information about their company right there. Also, our friends at Ivy Tech, they're always making things accessible, number one, to higher education, to your certifications, but also make it as easy as possible financially. They help out their students. They help out the children of their students. They've got the Angel Tree program. I believe that's in the foul hall. You can grab a name, or maybe not a name, but you grab one of their little cards, and it shows you what you can do to help out that family. So just one of the ways. They've helped with Thanksgiving. They help with, around the holidays. Just a great community support here, empowering the workforce in Southern Indiana and beyond. I'm sure Ivy Tech has touched many of our families watching. So if you want to learn more, you can go to ivytech.edu. Locations, Sellersburg, which is right there up the road at Highway 311 and I-65 in Sellersburg. And you can learn a whole lot more information. And you can get signed up. They've got the spring sessions that start in January, I believe. And they've got a calendar on here. We can learn a lot more as well. All right, digging in the current conditions out there, another live look outside. And again, picking up a record amount of snowfall for today's date at 4.7 inches officially at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport, but again, ranging around 2 to 4. Vicky said, I lost you. That is probably my Starlink internet. If it drops out, it should pop right back on. Orlean saying, well, I actually see a little bit of blue sky. That's in Hodgenville, and the roads are fine. Nice to hear. Okay, Vicky, but I might freeze a little bit on YouTube as well. Hopefully not. Things are rolling pretty good as we speak right now. All right, let's bring up the forecast. And we'll dig into the weather models here in just a few minutes, probably around 10:20. I think we're kind of on time. Again, talking about some slick, mainly side roads, neighborhood roads now. Main routes are in good shape. Cold 2-week weather pattern. Quiet for the work week. No big systems anytime soon. There might be a little bit of a wintry mix Sunday, Monday timeframe. The countdown continues. Winter beginning in 19 days. Christmas in 23. Time change. I think it's March 8th. We get those later sunsets in 96 days. Some of you wanting to jump ahead to springtime in 108 days. Good morning, Judy Tyndall with the snow there in Cloverport. Our stupid weather jokes are snow related for today. And a good morning to Mike Sievert. Thanks for popping in the comments. What do snowmen get? Why do snowmen get invited to parties? They are good at breaking the ice. What do you call a snowman's pet poodle? A slush puppy. What is the snowman's favorite drink? Ice tea. And a lot of weather history on today's date. Indianapolis in 1886 set a record low temperature of -3. We set a record today at 4.7 inches of snow in Louisville, and they had about 5 inches up in Indianapolis. 1896, parts of the deep south covered in ice and snow, 6 inches of snow in Atlanta, 11 inches of snow in Charlotte, and a swath of snow greater than 10 inches from South Carolina, southeastern Virginia, up to 15 inches in Chester, South Carolina. That's pretty crazy. 1950, a rare tornado event occurred when a storm system produced 3 tornadoes in Illinois, 1 in Arkansas. 1959, 20 inches of rain fell near the town of Fréjus, French Riviera. $68 million in damage, killed 423 people. Flooding, always the #1 killer. 1962, severe lakefront fog in Toronto halted the Grey Cup Canadian Championship football game between the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. With 9 minutes and 29 seconds left to play, Winnipeg won the Fog Bowl the following day by a score of 28-27. That's my sports report right there. All right, your forecast for today. Snow is gone, a high of 33, trying to sneak in some peaks of sunshine. And today also marks, my friends, the earliest sunsets of the year. Today, through the next 10 days, our sunsets are at 5:22 p.m. After that, they get slowly later. But what's weird is our shortest day is right around December 21st, when we have the winter solstice, when the sun's direct rays are down over the southern hemisphere. The reason why our sunsets can be later and the days shorter is because the sun rises continue to be later through December 21st. But after December 12th, we start to get slowly later sunsets. And that continues all the way until around June 21st, when we start off summertime. Oh my goodness, Beverly and Lillian, loving the weather jokes. Thank you very much. And your forecast here for tonight, low 20 degrees. So a frigid night tonight. And again, I mentioned there's a chance that if there's any moisture on the roads or bridges and overpasses, there still could be some refreezing going on. Again, maybe some neighborhood roads that haven't been plowed. So a very cold night tonight. And a snowpack will a lot of times allow the temperatures to be colder than what the weather models think. So the models might be showing lows in the mid-20s, when in reality, we can probably get down to the upper teens, low 20s. It can almost also limit your high temperatures a little bit cooler than what the weather models say too. And then so for tomorrow, a cold one, but a little bit warmer. We get above freezing. After a frigid start, 38 for the afternoon high, and partly to mostly sunny. So we're getting some sunshine at least. And our normal high is 51, so we're way below that. Our normal low, 35 degrees, sun up at 7:43, sunset at 5:22. And then our 7-day forecast here. So again, pretty quiet for the rest of the week. On Thursday, there might be a few flurries flying through as another cold front moves through. And look at our high temperature there. Is on Thursday, our high temperature 32. That's colder than our normal low temperature. That is about 20 degrees below normal for this time of the year, to give you some perspective there. So very cold Thursday. Friday, 36. Notice our lows in the 20s, 40 Saturday. And then the models don't have it pinned down just yet. GFS has Sunday with a little wintry mix, Euro Canadian kind of Sunday night, early Monday time frame. So that'll get ironed out with the fine tuning of that. Just like this last system last night got ironed out as we got closer. But I think with that system, we're a little bit warmer and it doesn't look as significant as far as what we have outside our windows out here today in this winter wonderland across the area. So there's the 7-day forecast. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the weather model data and the snow reports. I gave my report to the National Weather Service today, and you can do that as well. It's really easy to do. You can go to weather.gov, you click on our area, and there's an email you can find to relay your snow report to the National Weather Service. John Fox popping in the comments this morning again. John was up early on the earlier show. Thanks for being with us. And all right, let's take a look at this right here. So these are the snow reports. As I back up our view real quick, I just want to show you that this system is making a move off to the east. So it is pretty much long gone there to the east. Snow is pretty much gone by, say, like 5 a.m. this morning. All right, we'll go south to north. We got Campbellsville, Kentucky with 0.8 inches of snow. We've got Falls the Rough, 3 inches, not bad. Over Meade County, they're doing good at reporting, and Breckenridge County, 4 inches there in Irvington. And then in Guston and Meade County, 3.5, 4.3 inches in Brandenburg. Heading up into Bullitt County here, we got 3 inches at Brooks. Hillview, 3 inches. Shelby, check it. Yeah, a swath of 2 to 4 for most locations here on the big weather map. All right, let me get rid of the full screen there. Look at all those snow reports. All those little individual little icons are snow reports. Up to the Ohio Valley, parts of the Midwest. All right, so we could talk cold for a second, because that's kind of the story for the rest of the week. Then we'll fire up the GFS weather model, and we'll look ahead to perhaps the next system late weekend. And I'm going to bring up the model tips. Let's bring that up here. I'm going to go with the NAM. And, tonight, look at that cold air that is all over the place. So this is at 1 p.m. today. We've got negative numbers up north. We're very cold here. So this is this afternoon. Showing upper 20s, low 30s. And with a wind around 5 to 15, we're going to have wind chills in the 20s pretty much all day today. So if you do venture out, going to want to bundle up, clearly. All right, back to the models here. I'm going to take this. Oh, yeah, we can do. Let me bring up GFS weather model, apparent temperature. This is 4 p.m. today. Yeah, so it's got 20s for our wind chills out there today. And then into tomorrow morning, this is 7 a.m. Showing around 20. I think there might be some spots that dip to the upper teens. Again, you can get a little colder with a snowpack than what the weather models actually say. And then into tomorrow afternoon, I mean, the cold air is not going anywhere. Anything that's not yellow is chilly. Blue, white, red. It's Canadian air winning the battle. Okay, jet stream is kind of taking a dive and opened the door. So this is the getting up into the jet stream as we take a wider view. And so you do have this component of the jet stream that is diving to the south and bringing in that warm air. And you got a subtropical jet stream down here, kind of phasing together. Get rid of all that stuff. So that's kind of what's driving our cold pattern there as we look globally, pretty much. All right, now I'm going to bring up the precipitation type as we head into the weekend. Again, we're pretty dry, it looks like, for the rest of our work week. I'm going to take a peek at Thursday. I doubt anything will show up, as I think there's a chance for a couple flurries as a reinforcing shot of cold air begins to move our direction Thursday morning. It's not sure. Something's going on. The guard dogs. Skeeter. Sorry. So we're pretty quiet there Thursday. Let's jump ahead to Sunday. Sunday, the 7th. I'm going to go, let's go Sunday afternoon. While that loads up. I was going to check on some comments here. We've got, oh, thank you very much. And Wayne Little, I feel like the GFS was better with this system. The NAM took forever to dial in, practically till the last minute. I agree with you there. And if you're looking at some of the 48-hour high-resolution weather models, the NAM 3 kilometer, I believe, was showing like less than an inch. The HRRR was showing a decent amount. GFS was showing 3-inch amounts. Euro was very low up until the last day. So it took a while to catch on, which is kind of usually the opposite. Usually the GFS catches on to the European weather model. So, Wayne, I agree with you that the GFS did a pretty good job with this one. And I think the Euro is slacking and slow. All right, so let me bring this back up. This is Sunday. And you can see that it's showing a little bit of a mixed bag right here. This is 4 p.m. Sunday. Now, again, the Euro and the Canadian seem to be a little bit later with this, maybe Sunday night into Monday, but they both have a disturbance coming in from the northwest, interacting with some chilly air that might give us a little bit of a light wintry mix. I don't think at this time, it doesn't look like it would be a real impactful system. This is at 7 p.m. showing the potential for a little bit of snow there. Or rain, snow mix. And then this is at 10 p.m. Sunday with that moving off to the east. So there's that system. And then let me just go reflectivity here. I'm going to jump ahead to, I believe it was Monday the 8th. Yeah. So here's Monday the 8th. I'm going to go to, I'm just looking to see if there's some signs maybe at some point next week there could be another system other than the Sunday, Monday thing going to the 9th. So that's a Tuesday. Not much happening there. The 10th is a Wednesday. Got a little system there. I'm going to precip type that. And that's got snow north. That is on the 10th, Wednesday. Let's go 11th, Thursday. Not much happening. But cold air probably dropping back in. Let me check that out. Yeah. There's another push of cold air, maybe late next week. going to the 12th of December. Yeah, Burr. We just stay in a cold pattern here. See if we got a precip to match up with that. Nope, that is the 12th. Going to the 13th. I don't even know what day the 13th is. There it shows a little snow. So now we're at Saturday the 13th. Okay. Going into Saturday night of the 13th. 14th morning. Got a little system trying to develop. 14, that'd be a Sunday the 14th, I believe. Let's go to 10 a.m. Sunday the 14th. All right, so then that shows. So what this says, if that were to happen, that would be kind of a mess around the region. Next couple weeks, colder than normal. Might have a system or two. Might get a little wintry mix here and there. A winter-like pattern. And what's interesting, I don't know if how much you've watched the show or paid attention, but I had meteorologist Brian Newdorf on the show back, I think, late October. And we were talking about how if you get a pretty mild October, it kind of flips in December. And that's what we've seen. An early start to December as far as winter weather is concerned. All right, so that is a look at the long-range outlook. Now, some of the data past mid-December showing maybe a warm-up around that time frame. So we try to bring that up. That's some really cold air. Let me bring this up. Minus teens just to the north. The edge of that cold air trying to move our direction on the 14th. '15th morning. Man, cold air winning. Showing teens in our area. So we're not done with old man winter for a while here as far as the temps go. So that's the 15th. Let's go to the 16th. Cold air. All right, I'm going to go as far out as the GFS can go. And not seeing a warm up there. This is now, we're out on a limb. We're going out on a limb, but this shows 4 p.m. temperatures on the 17th. So since we're looking way out at a long cold weather pattern, that has been bet on a limb. All right, let's take a look at some current conditions. We'll do a recap of the forecast, and then we'll wrap it up on what has been a long morning here. All right, so this shows our temps. These are typically observation stations at airports. 28 in Louisville. So upper 20s to around 30 degrees below freezing. So we're not getting much melting going on here today. These are the current temperatures across our region and the United States. You can see the heart of the cold air is up where it's in single digits in Minnesota, eastern, North and South Dakota, and Iowa. And we're kind of on the fringe of the heart of that cold air. But you can see the system that brought the snow. Let me get rid of these reports. If I can. I'm having trouble finding them. All right. A lot of cloud cover left over. So there goes that system. That was a quick mover overnight. Now it's over New England already. I don't know why I am not seeing the storm report layer here. Oh, there it is. There we go. There's the system. Moving off to the northeast. And actually, when you have the visible satellite, it picks up on the snow on the ground. So sometimes you don't want to use the visible satellite. Let me go infrared. All right, enough of that. Let's bring another live look outside at the snowy scenes. Look at that. I'll bring this up full screen. Live look there at the riverfront. Typically, we see a few people walking around there at the fossil beds. I don't see anybody out there this morning. Just a bird flying by. All right, let me get out of that. And again, you got a lot of resources here linked up. I've done a lot of updates here this morning at extolmag.com/weather. We got our live stream up. Currently, we've dropped to 29 here over the last few minutes since our show started. You got hourly forecast, your daily forecast, 7-day forecast that I posted right there. You got our weather story. Look at Indiana weather and traffic. Traffic-wise, we're having fun looking at the snow plows out there. We got one here on Highway 60. Moving through the Borden Valley right there. Thank you to the crews that are probably going to be sleepy after working through the overnight hours. And look at here at Trimark once again. Whoa. There was an earlier accident here at 9th Street. Let's see if they've got that cleared up yet. Looks like they got the wrecker there. About to clear that out. Suburban towing out there. 2 vehicle accidents, 64 westbound at 9th Street. A lot of traffic on the 2nd Street Bridge. And what's this one? I-65 south ramp to 64, right lane, right shoulder blocked with a crash there. So that's got things tied up on the bridge. Other than that, things are pretty smooth on the roadways throughout Metro Louisville. And again, let's get back to the forecast. As we have had a record-setting December 2nd. Here we go. So today, officially at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport, 4.7 inches, 2.7, the old record set back in 2000. There was the snowy scene I had in my backyard this morning. There's Ken Ritter. He called it Mount Borden. It's probably a long driveway right there, the snow-covered road this morning. There's a look at about 4 inches from Bruce and Brenna LeDuc in Pekin. And then on the left side, you've got Kathy Willis in Bullitt County. The right side, Anita Meredith in Fern Creek. I couldn't put up all the pictures. Got dozens of pictures. Thanks so much for sharing those if you did. And again, a cold pattern. Watch for still some slick roads out there off the main routes. Temperatures trending about 10 to 15 below normal. In December, when you're 10 to 15 below normal, it's going to be rather chilly. Quiet through the rest of this work week. Might sneak in a few flurries Thursday with a reinforcing shot of cold air, looking at a high of around 32 for Thursday. And then maybe a little wintry mix Sunday, Monday timeframe. Winter begins in 19 days, Christmas in just 23 days. Crazy, crazy. Time change in 96. That's around March 8th. You get those later sunsets. Some of you wanting to spring ahead to spring in 108 days. Our stupid weather jokes are snow related. Why do snowmen get invited to parties? They are good at breaking the ice. What do you call a snowman's pet poodle? A slush puppy. What is the snowman's favorite drink? Iced tea. And we had a lot of weather history on today's date, making history today. And I will put this on Facebook at around noon today, or you can watch the replay. We talked more about it earlier. Our forecast today, 33 degrees. Just a cold one out there. There might be some spots that don't even make it above freezing today with this blanket of snow that we have out there. And also, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning, today marks the earliest sunsets of the year that last for 10 days through December 12th. And then after that, our sunsets get a little bit later, all the way through June 21st of 2026. The low tonight, upper teens, low 20s, a frigid night tonight. Maybe a little refreezing going on tonight. And tomorrow is a cold one, but at least we get above freezing. Should have some sunshine out there for our Wednesday with a high of 38. And our 7-day forecast, again, pretty quiet for the rest of our work week. Maybe a little systems Sunday, Monday time frame that will fine-tune the forecast there with that timing as it gets closer. Look at all those 20s. Look at all those 30s over the next 7 days. Bursky. All right, one more time before we wrap it up. I want to thank our partners here. Michael Long with American Family Insurance. Hopefully he's not working on too many claims today because there were a lot of slide-offs that I saw early this morning. But he'll definitely work with you very closely to help you out if you have any issues. And if you want to try to save some money and you want to get a quote, might be a life insurance, house insurance, car insurance, and a lot of other things that you might want to get insured. Give them a shout, 812-578-3072. Go to amfam.com, search Michael Long, and let them know that I sent you. Here is lionsroofingco.com, lionsroofingco.com. Protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. That is LYONS. They're right out of Memphis, Indiana, but they got you covered on both sides of the river. 812-294-3595. They have been busy all year long since the March hailstorm. They've been very, very busy. Again, 812-294-3595. And a shout out to our friends at Ivy Tech Community College, Sellersburg. You belong here. They're going to meet you wherever you're at in life. High school, get that higher education started there. Maybe you're in your 40s and 50s and want to change. They've got dozens of programs, 2-year certifications, which I think are going to be more and more important in the economy ahead, powering the workforce here in Southern Indiana. They've also got an Angel Tree program helping the children of the students there at Ivy Tech. I believe it is at Fowl Hall. If you go there, you can take one of the cards and you can help out one of the family members. Another way to give in our community. And you got your schedule there. You can click on the Ivy Experience. You're going to learn more about all the things happening there. And they're expanding, really becoming a community hub. Baptist Health is making an urgent care center. They're going to have a family scholarship house opening up soon. So really doing everything to make post-secondary education accessible and elevating folks in their life in our area. So thanks to Ivy Tech and their support. Thank you for your support for watching here this morning, live from the dining room table. All right. Couldn't get out this morning. The roads were a little too slick. But I do want to thank my neighbor, Mike. He was out with the tractor plowing early this morning. Got a couple more comments before we wrap this up. Orlean Whitlow, do I have any idea what January might be? Some of the predictions, January, February timeframe, we might have colder shots of air. January is our coldest month of the year. And I dropped off for a second there. So the forecast is for higher chances of more winter storms. So we'll see. Wayne Little hoping to get a lot of snow to go with the cold air. Hate for it to just be cold. And I hate for it to not only be cold, but wet. That's my least favorite. Cold rain. I'd rather have the snow. And Vicky Berger, what's Scottsville look like today? Scottsville Road. Here in Clark County, I'm not sure what that road looks like, but I know they've gone through our neighborhood, and so most of the roads are in good shape. Lillian Lasley, have a good day. Have fun playing in the snow. Have to break out the sleds. Kind of a wet snow. I'm not sure how to work out. And JK saying, good morning. Good morning, JK. So glad it was a fast mover. Yeah, it was in and out. Quick nighttime system. And David Phillips, I agree. Cold with no moisture to go with it, or cold but not quite cold enough to support winter precipitation is miserable, and you have nothing to show for it besides a higher heating bill. 100% correct. And muddy paws that we have. It's the muddy paw season where you let the dogs in, you think they're all right, and then there's just tracks everywhere. Oh, Scottsville, Kentucky. Justin's working down there. Oh, okay. I think it's fine. I think the roads will be just fine. Yeah, in good shape. We're dry today. Probably going to get some peaks of sunshine, so definitely in good shape. All right, thank you guys so much for joining in. 10:46, 46 minutes here. We've been yapping about the snow and all that fun stuff. So tomorrow on the show, Ben at 10, we got Brad Weddington Custom Homes. If you have any home questions, think about some, drop them in the comments. Love the interaction when you guys ask Brad. Put Brad to the test. He'll be on the show tomorrow morning, and we'll be talking about a lot more cold weather on the way as well. Orlean, thanks for getting up early and doing what you do. Yeah, it was an early start this morning. First post at 4 a.m. and finishing up a post right here. All right, you guys have a good one. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being part of the weather family. Thanks for watching, whether it's on my page. Also, the like or the share goes a huge way. All the mathematics and the algorithms on social media, even just one like puts it out there even more. So thanks for your support with that. Thanks for subscribing to our YouTube channel, Extol Media, EXTOL Media. And then we got Extol Weather on Facebook too. I just posted a weather story there right before the show. All right, Vicki, you have a good day too. We'll wrap it up with your comment right there, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Be safe out there.